There's something about the woods that draws people in the quiet, the sense of adventure, or the need to disconnect from the world. But once you're surrounded by miles of trees, isolation becomes real, and it's easy to lose your way. Over the years, thousands of people have walked into forests and never come back. Some cases are accidents, others involve foul play, but a few are so strange that investigators still can't explain what happened. One of the most disturbing cases is that of a young man named Aaron Hedges. In 2014, Aaron went hunting with two friends in the crazy mountains of Montana. They planned to spend a few days camping, but Aaron got separated from the group. He was experienced, dressed for the weather, and knew the terrain well. When he didn't show up at the rendezvous point, a massive search began. For days, helicopters and ground teams scoured the forest, but Aaron was nowhere to be found. Months later, his boots and backpack were discovered miles from where he was last seen in a place that didn't make sense geographically. Even stranger, his remains were eventually found in a remote area at a high elevation, far away from any path or trail. No one knows how he ended up there. His death remains a mystery that still haunts people who study strange disappearances. Then there's the story of a little boy named Dennis Martin. In 1969, Dennis was just 6 years old when he vanished during a family camping trip in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It was Father's Day weekend, and the Martins were spending time in the woods with another family. Dennis and a few kids decided to play hide and seek. When everyone came out of hiding, Dennis didn't. The parents began searching immediately, calling his name, but there was no answer. Within hours, hundreds of people were combing through the forest. Days passed, and the search became one of the largest in U.S. park history. Despite the enormous effort, Dennis was never found. Some hikers in another area reported hearing a scream and seeing what looked like a man carrying something on his shoulders, but that lead went nowhere. To this day, no one knows what happened to him. The woods can hide things easily. Sound doesn't travel well through thick trees, and the terrain can change suddenly. People can vanish within minutes, even when others are nearby. It's this eerie silence and unpredictability that makes these stories so frightening. Another case that still disturbs investigators is that of an experienced hiker named Geraldine Largay. In 2013, Geraldine was hiking the Appalachian Trail, a journey she had planned for years. She texted her husband one morning to say she was leaving her camp and would check in later. That was the last anyone ever heard from her. When she didn't arrive at her next checkpoint, search teams were sent out, but there was no sign of her. Over 2 years later, her remains were found inside her tent deep in the woods. Next to her was her journal. The entries revealed that she had gotten lost, tried to find her way back, and survived for weeks before dying of exposure and starvation. Her final notes were heartbreaking. She wrote that she loved her family and was sorry she couldn't make it out. But sometimes the disappearances are even stranger. In 1950, a boy named Paul Jepson disappeared near Bennington, Vermont, an area now known for the Bennington Triangle. Paul was just 8 years old and had been playing near his family's truck while his mother tended to pigs at a nearby farm. When she returned, he was gone. Search dogs followed his scent to a nearby road, but then the trail suddenly stopped. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. Despite massive searches, no evidence was ever found. The Bennington Triangle has been linked to multiple disappearances over the years, all within the same small region of forest, with no logical explanation. In 2015, a man named Chris Fowler, also known as Sherpa, disappeared while hiking the Pacific Crest Trail in Washington state. He was an experienced backpacker and regularly updated friends and family on his journey. Then suddenly, all communication stopped. Search efforts found nothing, not even a trace of his gear. The area where he went missing was covered in thick forest and mountains, but after years of searching, there are still no answers. It's as if the woods swallowed him whole. Sometimes people vanish in areas they know extremely well, which makes it even more unsettling. In Oregon, a firefighter named Robert Hoagland disappeared after taking a walk near his home by a wooded area. He was familiar with every trail, but his footprints stopped abruptly in a clearing. There were no signs of a struggle or wildlife attack. and his belongings were found neatly placed near the start of the trail. It's the kind of mystery that leaves families haunted for years. Then there's the baffling case of the Dyatlov Pass in Russia, where 9 experienced hikers disappeared in 1959 in the Ural Mountains. When rescuers found their campsite, it was like something out of a nightmare. The tent was torn open from the inside, and the hikers' bodies were scattered down the slope, some without clothes, some barefoot, some with horrifying injuries like crushed skulls and missing eyes. Theories range from avalanche to secret military tests to something supernatural. Officially, the cause remains unknown natural force. Whatever happened, it shows how remote wilderness can hide its secrets forever. One of the more modern cases involves a man named Brandon Swanson, who vanished in 2008 after his car got stuck near a rural area in Minnesota. Although not deep in a forest, the area was surrounded by farmland and woods. He called his parents, saying he was walking toward a nearby town. They stayed on the phone with him for over 40 minutes before he suddenly said, "Oh shit," and the call ended. Despite extensive searches, neither his phone nor his body has ever been found. It's like the earth opened up and swallowed him. There's also the disturbing case of a group of college students who went missing while exploring the woods near Oregon's Mount Hood in 1992. They had gone camping for a weekend, and their car was later found abandoned at the trailhead. Their tents were discovered deep in the forest, torn and scattered, as if they'd left in a hurry. The strange thing was that their supplies and gear were still there, food, flashlights, and clothing untouched. No remains were ever found. Theories range from a bear attack to something far more sinister, but the truth remains unknown. Many people who vanish in the woods are never found because of how vast and dangerous these environments can be. Dense vegetation, wild animals, cliffs, and unpredictable weather can make it almost impossible to find someone, even with modern technology. But there are some cases that simply defy explanation: footprints that stop mid-trail, personal belongings found miles apart, or areas where search dogs refuse to continue as if something unseen frightens them. Some researchers believe that these vanishings might be connected to patterns, clusters of disappearances in specific locations, often near water, caves, or large boulder fields. One investigator, David Paulides, has documented hundreds of such cases under the title Missing 411. He points out the eerie similarities between many of these incidents, suggesting that something strange could be happening in these wilderness areas. He doesn't claim to know what it is, only that the patterns are too consistent to ignore. Imagine walking into a forest you've visited 100 times before, knowing every path and tree. Then suddenly, the environment feels different, silent, cold, unsettling. You turn around, but the trail looks unfamiliar. The air feels heavier, and even your phone loses signal. Many people who have survived getting lost describe a strange sense of confusion, like the forest itself is shifting around them. Some even claim they heard voices calling their names or footsteps following them, only to find no one there. There are also stories of search teams who have reported strange occurrences while looking for missing people: compass needles spinning wildly, radios malfunctioning, and sudden changes in weather that appear and disappear within minutes. Some rescuers have described finding perfectly placed piles of stones or strange symbols carved into trees near search zones. It's hard to say whether these are coincidences or something deeper. In some Native American legends, forests are places where spirits dwell, some kind, others dangerous. According to certain tribes, there are beings that can lure people deeper into the woods, making them lose their way. Whether you believe in legends or not, it's chilling to realize that so many disappearances happen in similar patterns, often without a single clue left behind. Even technology doesn't always help. GPS devices fail, phones die, and drones lose signal in dense canopies. The forest can make a person feel completely cut off from the world. Once someone is lost, panic sets in quickly and disorientation follows. In those moments, even a few wrong turns can lead miles away from safety. The families left behind are often tormented by endless questions. Did their loved ones get hurt? Did someone take them? Or is there something else in those woods that we don't understand? Some cases get media attention for a while, but when searches fail, they fade into silence, leaving only mystery and grief. When you think about all these stories together, from the missing hikers in the mountains to the children who vanished during camping trips, it's hard not to feel uneasy. The idea that someone can simply step into the woods and never come out is one of the most disturbing things imaginable. It's not just about getting lost, it's about disappearing completely, leaving behind no trace, no sound, no clue. Every year, new cases are added to this list. Some are solved hikers found alive after days or weeks, but many are not. And even when bodies are found, the details often raise more questions than answers. Why did they end up so far from where they were last seen? Why were their clothes removed? Why were some items neatly folded or left behind? These are the mysteries that make the woods feel not just dangerous, but almost otherworldly. So the next time you step into the forest, take a moment to think about how easily things can change. One wrong step, one moment of distraction, and the peaceful woods can become a maze with no exit. Always stay on marked trails, let someone know where you're going, and never underestimate how vast and unpredictable nature can be. But perhaps somewhere deep inside us, the mystery of the woods is part of what draws us in. It's that feeling of the unknown, the same thing that makes these stories so haunting. The forest holds beauty and terror side by side, and those who disappear within its depths become part of its eternal secrets. The disturbing cases of people disappearing into the woods remind us that not all mysteries can be solved, and not all stories have endings. Sometimes the woods take people, and we may never know why. Stay safe out there, and always respect the silence of the forest, because once you're deep enough inside, it might not let you go.